And what's funny is the woman at the beginning of the first clip, she looks like Omarosa, so that was kind of funny. And Local Hookups is a funny site because Local Hookups, Debbie, is a local hookup site. So that's very much a serial dater spot. The problem with local hookups, it's first of all local hookups. It's it's local hookups with a Z at the end, and that site is very much a freak spot. Like that site is you have a lot of gay women on that site. You have a lot of bisexual women. You have a lot of women from. It's based in New York City, but you have other cities that participate as well. They have a few people in DC, but it's mostly New Yorkers on that site. Um, Personally, what I recommend local hookups, if you're looking just to get your freak on, try local hookups. Um, I typically don't do that site because a lot of women on that site to me are hood. They're ghetto. It's a little bit too much. So you kind of have to kind of be pick and choose. But there are some fly women on local hookups, but there are also a lot of bisexual gay women who have no interest in dealing with men. And ladies on the other hand, if you're just trying to get your freak on, then local hookups might be your joint. You know what I mean? Yeah, MySpace is kind of gone. You know what I mean? But I mean, this whole thing is kind of changing around. So yeah, D Will said this chick just hit you on MySpace. See, some females are still on MySpace. Some females are still doing it. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, Plenty of Fish has a lot of single mothers on here. Yeah, see, Madi, you can screen out what you want or what you don't want, and single mothers can be cool. And like I explain in my books, there's nothing wrong with being a mother per se, but it's the circumstances surrounding why she had kids. Now, if you just don't want to be with a woman who has kids in general, then that's something else. I mean, and you can always filter that out in your preferences. There's a little. If you go to advanced search, you could search for women who don't have kids. You could search for women who are only 5'5". You could search for women who might look a certain way. You could search for only East African women. I mean, you can search for a lot of different things on that site. So that's why I like that site. It's very powerful. So, so. So we have any other questions in the room? Anything else popping? Did I answer your question, Debbie, by the way? I just went on a tangent. Okay, so I answered Debbie's question. So yeah, it's the internet. It's what you make it. You know what I mean? And for those of you who have seen me on Dr. Phil, or if you haven't, you can just go to YouTube and put in Flyness Dr. Phil. You can see me and one of my exes on there. And yeah, I met her somewhat through Facebook. I actually did business with her. I actually filmed one of her fashion events, and you don't see it on the clip, but one thing I will hand to my ex is that her shape is ridiculous, and I saw her at a fashion event um, that I was actually filming, and I thought she was real cute. So what I did was a few months later, I got up with her on Facebook. I actually messed with her on Honesty Box, and I talk about that in this book as well. Honesty Mackin in terms of how you can kind of get females' attention through Honesty Box and kind of convert that into something. Her and I actually dated, so it depends on what you use the internet for. You can use it for multiple purposes. Linus, do you have any plans on releasing a DVD of yourself spitting game at various women in clubs? In clubs, now J Rock, that's a little bit more difficult. Um, Probably not in clubs, but probably on the street. Um, Now, I also, in addition to my British Invasion Miami um, clip that you'll see on YouTube, first of all, that video has about 200,000 views. So that is you know, that is the business. So yeah, but no, there will be more things like that. There's a lot of stuff with me in the photo shoots already. So my partner Phil and I we're in. That's why I said I'm curious. Yeah, we're actually discussing plans on doing more things like that as well. So yeah, because this is the thing. When I was learning the game, because I'll be the first to say, and I put this on my website, I used to be horrible with women. Now, let me tell you something. In high school, I was horrific. So if you were tuning in and you went to my high school, yeah, it's really me. And when I was in high school, I was horrific. Like, but things grew up. Things got better. And but part of the problem with back in the day when I was trying to learn the game was there were all sorts of books in the bookstore. There's some great books out there. Of course, many of you know Tariq Nasheed writes some excellent books. You had David D'Angelo and all these other guys writing stuff. Some of which is pretty good. And but the problem was actually seeing it put into action. Because other than Mystery's show, The Pickup Artist, and even that show was a little corny, but at least what the show did do, and I'm gonna give a polite shout out to my PUA fellas out there, pickup artists. Although they use a lot of peacocking and they paint their fingernails, they do a lot of stuff that to me is like a little silly. But one thing that they do is they do put, first of all, they put a business spin on the things, which is cool. And at least their techniques are easy to follow because they have videos, they have tapes, they have all sorts of ways where you can actually show your game. And what the British Invasion Miami clip did, and I had a lot of people who messaged me, was the fact that you can actually see me in action. You can see me talking to women. You see me smacking the girls, but you can actually see stuff going on, and that's really important. Just to be able to see how people project themselves, see how people talk to other people. So yeah, sometime in the near future, you're gonna see me, spitting game. You know what I mean? So in the club, I don't know, because in a club you have to think about it like this. You have to wire the club. I have to be wired with a wireless mic, and then you'll have to deal with release forms. So if I meet a woman in the club and I get her number, if that thing's going to be broadcast, legally speaking, she could sue me if she doesn't sign a release. Whereas if I'm filming someone and I have a camera in their face and I tell them what the deal is on camera, then that's their release. So there's legal issues in there as well. So let's see. So Partner Swag says, do you still meet women online or in the streets, or which do you prefer? I meet women everywhere. So for instance, there was a woman that I met not too. I live in the boonies, so there was a woman I met not too far from where I live, off the internet, and yeah, her and I kicked it last week. Versus in the streets, yeah, I still meet women in the streets. I met women last night. I meet women in the streets, in the grocery store. I met a woman at Kmart in line. I've kicked it with everybody from cashiers to women trying to sell me things on the street. You know what I mean? So, there should be no limit. Your game, like I said, in one of my books, one of the quotes that I use in the book is, meeting women online and offline, it's all one and the same thing. Your game, your online game should flow into your offline game like a river does into an ocean. There should be very little difference between the worlds. So I mean, and by the way, I do have a clip. If you go to, I think it's Twitvid, and you guys can bookmark this. If you go to twitvid.com/flyness, you'll actually see a clip where I explain just the whole club game and how to roll to the club dolo. So if you're going to the club, especially if you're going alone, I suggest going alone because you're not relying on a wingman. Wingmen are good in terms of if you have a group of women and you have a cock blocker, you want someone to intercept the cock blocker. However, overall, I think wingmen kind of hamper your game. A lot of people rely on wingmen. You have websites, like you have a website called onlinewingmen.com and stuff like that, where these guys, they have meetups in different cities and they hit up clubs and packs. I don't believe in that. If you're a Mac, in all actuality, you could be anywhere. You could be at a store, you could be at a supermarket. A woman, she could be fly as heck, but she could be with her mom. And I actually had someone ask how you get at a woman when her mom is around. I mean, you have to know how to do things on your own, and that's probably the best way to do it. So earlier, J Rock said Paul Janka has videos of himself standing on a street corner in Austin, picking up women all day long. Yeah, see, so J Rock, and that's cool. And I actually talked to Paul Janka. Paul Janka and I had a conversation, and yeah, he's real cool people. And I was telling him that he has like an ebook on meeting women in New York City. Thought his ebook was okay. It was cool. Um, but yeah, what's effective with him is that at least he makes an effort to put his stuff out there in terms of actually showing people that he's just not blowing smoke. You know what I mean? So Young Suave said, yeah, the club is difficult, especially if it's one of these clubs with overly loud music and no light. Yeah, so what I normally do is I make sure that if I hit a club like a hardcore party, make sure I try to balance that out with a lounge, or at least try to find a spot that has like lounge appeal. So you can always carry on a conversation in the corner, take it, to the bar, without buying drinks. But you can do it. So Debbie said, how do you gauge the difference between when women are simply being friendly or if she's being receptive? Huh, that's a very, very good question. So, and that's an excellent question, Debbie. If a woman is being friendly, what a lot of guys have to be careful about is if a woman is at work, like for instance, there is a Subway like right around the corner from where I live, and there's a female at that Subway, and I haven't spit real hard because I see her all the time. I'm in there always getting my sandwich. She works there 24/7, and I don't know where the hell she's from. She must be like, I don't know where the hell she's from, but she's ridiculous. But the problem is that as friendly as she is, she's kind of friendly with everybody. Um, and there's some women who are also just very flirtatious, Debbie. So you know that as well. So you have a lot of those things, but just some general signs, and everything kind of depends on the situations. But some general signs of genuine interest would be if she carries on the conversation, she asks kind of deeper questions. So if you ask her what her name is, she wants to know what your name is, so she's gonna ask you. If you kind of ask her about her life story, how she came up, and all that stuff, she's really interested in yours as well. And also she's willing to give you a lot of intimate details about her past. Um, Physically speaking, um, like I do, like, see, I'm a little different. I'm a little crazy. So, like, for instance, at this party the other night, it's the first thing on my mind, or the last thing on my mind. I met one woman by the bar, and her and I just had like this crazy eye contact from across the room. Eye contact is key. And her and I, we were just like locked. We just locked eyes. And so then I kind of broke the tension for a minute. I kind of left, and then I came a little bit closer to her, and then we were just like sitting by the bar, kind of next to each other, and I just started looking at her, and she kind of got uncomfortable because I just kind of looked and kind of gave her like a sideways smile, and then we eventually just started talking. But eye contact is probably the best way, and truth be told, if a woman doesn't like you, she won't look at you. She'll avoid eye contact at all costs. So that's a big one. Flickering the hair, twirling the hair while she's talking to you. Those are genuine interest signs. Versus if she's at her job, usually you want to be cool, slide her your card, um, but yeah. But then you have a lot of flirtatious women as well. I will most likely do a future show on that. I'll yeah, break that down. So. So what are fly bundles? You go to flynesspublishing.com right now. You can go and you'll see fly bundles on the homepage. And the fly bundle is any book plus a DVD, and it's only $29.95. It's free shipping. So there's the website right there. So yeah, and